What's up, everybody? We are live with another edition of the State of Bitcoin podcast. But first, I want to give a huge shout out to MyNode at MyNodeBTC. You can find their website at mynodebtc.com as well. They're the one-stop shop where you can go get a Bitcoin node and a Lightning wallet all in one. You can get their hardware. Go ahead and purchase that. I was able to get one to start to set up podcasting 2.0. So if you're on Breeze or any of those other podcasting 2.0 services, be on the lookout at my Twitter account because I will be launching that shortly. And then, go ahead and if you're looking to buy a node or get a Lightning wallet, get some hardware, go through MyNode. MyNode's great. I had them on an earlier podcast episode as well. So Taylor's very knowledgeable and very great and does a lot for his customers. So at MyNodeBTC, go ahead, give them a follow. And now let's get into this bonus episode. I'm very, very excited for this guest. He's doing some awesome stuff. He's traveling around the globe and using strictly Bitcoin. So now let's go ahead and pull him up. Paco, how you doing today?
Hi, what's up, buddy? Doing all good, man. How about you? Hello from Malawi.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So, why don't you, I guess, give us a little intro to what you're doing and how it's going so far.
Hi. Hi, everybody. Muli Bwanji from Malawi. That's how they say hello here. My name is Paco. I am traveling around 40 countries in 400 days by just using Bitcoin. The purpose of the journey is to show there is adoption of Bitcoin, mass awareness, and to show that humans are really kind through my travel vlogs that I show on the YouTube channel. So far, I'm on day number 244, I guess, and this is the 12th country. But I'm in Africa, and yes, man, there are Bitcoin believers. There are around the world.
That's awesome, man. So let's back it up a little bit. So how did you hear about Bitcoin, and when did you kind of dive down the rabbit hole?
This happened last year when was handed over a book by my friend called the Bitcoin Standard, which really, like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it started speaking about the history of money and how we have evolved and how the money has gone from gold to Federal Reserve. And it just kept on showing what is time preference for that simple matter, what is quality. And it just started showing different ways of how everything is just lost. So it said, fix the money, fix the world. And in the book, there was this lady called Nellie Bly. She's from England. She circumnavigated the globe in 1878 by using pounds and gold coins. And pounds at that time was a new currency. So I was like, this is 2021. I'm going to travel around the world by using Bitcoin. This
That's
is how
amazing.
I start.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
it's amazing stuff. So, a lot of people, I've actually had a couple people on that wanted to say, where when you look around, even though in the United States and maybe in some other countries, bigger countries, maybe the quote unquote first world, it's not exactly legal tender or things like that. But
hmm
you're showing the proof case here that you can travel around 40 countries and use strictly Bitcoin. So that's awesome. So what gave you the motivation to, I guess, do this? Because you're still like fairly early on into your Bitcoin journey. So what made you be like, okay, now I've learned enough and I want to go ahead and really put this to the test and travel around and do all this?
So basically, I have been traveling over the last 7 years now, and I have been on the move, and I really enjoy that plus side of humanity. I really love it. Like, uh, I really feel humans are inherently kind people, just the circumstances aren't. And in the current world, what is just being shown is just like this is going up, this is going down, this is going out of the place, and there's just a lot of news and chaos in this world. And Mark Twain has said it beautifully: if you don't follow news, you're uninformed, but if you follow, you are misinformed. And I was just like, okay, I cannot fight with the information, but I can just share what's the current information around what I am feeling. And like I'm showing, like people are really nice. And yes, there is Bitcoin adoption, and yes, people are open to it. And in which countries they are not, like Qatar, definitely not because of the kingdom. The kingdom is out there, and how countries are just adopting. And you find these little pockets, these little communities. These OTC traders are pretty much everywhere, man. I can just say, like, every country you can just go down. Like I have been practically able to move just without using a credit card, not even your crypto card, man. Can you believe that? It's just crazy. Like you convert your OTC, you help yourself to move around a little, and you end up finding these little places. So yeah, that's nice.
That's amazing, man. That's
Yeah.
yeah, that's great. So I think you kind of nailed it on the head too, and I think something's like really unique about the Bitcoin community in itself. At least from my experience, even over like the internet and just over Twitter and other mediums like that, when I've interacted with Bitcoiners, they're more open to either donating or helping out in some way, shape, or form, or even educating just for free or pointing free resources. So what has been, I guess, your coolest experience just kind of getting into the whole Bitcoin world? Like your coolest interaction, I guess, so far?
I have one definitely having a chat with Gandalf recently was the one like where just I was like, what the hell? Like this just happened. And he's really supportive, like very constructive, very constructive. Like this is something like I was just surprised. There's a little bitter, little sweet one that happened with Bitcoin Magazine, and yeah. So I was in Sri Lanka, and I am 33. I lost the room keys, so I was like, okay, I still lost it. And I asked the lady, and I was like, hey, I want to get you a copy done. She's like, no, you have to pay like $200. You have to put in a new lock and blah and blah. I'm like, please. So I took the key. I ran to the neighboring town for security reason, not the same town. I ran to the same town. I ran to the town. I told the guy like, hey, I'll pay you in Bitcoin. And the guy flashed his Binance wallet. Yes, he
Wow.
flashed his Binance wallet. I doubled him. I was like, here, you take double, man. Like, go for it. So Bitcoin Magazine picked up that video, they shared it, and then they deleted it in like 3 minutes. And I don't know why they did that. That was really hilarious for me. That was some crazy. I really thank Cointelegraph team. Like it has been really nice. They have been very supportive, and it's just being happening. Like I have just come to understand something really nice. Being part of the journey is proof of work, which has given me a lot of happiness within me because it's all about creation and consumption. Like where you're creating, you're contributing, and then you're consuming, it's a different ball game. Otherwise it's all proof of stake and just consumption, right?
Exactly, and
Yeah,
I
man.
think it's interesting too that Bitcoiners all around, everyone that I kind of talk to is kind of brought in that whole proof of work into their own life, which is
Wow.
what it seems like you're doing as well, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, and you mentioned Gandalf too. That's kind of how we got connected as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gandalf's a great guy and a great ambassador for Bitcoin as a whole, and he's
Yes.
let me learn quite a bit. So, um, yeah, that's awesome. So you're currently in Africa, which had
Yeah.
the Central African Republic just I guess just named Bitcoin as legal tender. So
Yeah.
I guess have you been to Africa prior to this? And okay. And then did you kind of decide, or did you decide to go through Africa because of you kind of heard some rumblings of Bitcoiners there, or what was kind of the decision on the route that you took?
S- So basically, when I started my travel, I had a plan to circumnavigate the globe, obviously. But as I moved, the bloody COVID came in with the new virus in December, January, and it kind of hampered my plans. So most of the countries that were opening, they shut down again. So my East Asia got really screwed up. I missed out on Vietnam. I missed out on Philippines, Indonesia, and all these places. And then I was like, okay, let's just move into Polynesia. And then I realized, holy fuck, Polynesia is fuck expensive, like $500, $1,000 tickets, $1,500. I moved over into Gulf, and I was like, all right, let's. Africa was a part of this, so I was like, let's just start with Africa before I move over into Southern America or the Eastern Europe part. And I started off with Kenya, and it was just like, wait a minute, Africa has a story, and of all the places, Africa needs it the most. So I was like, all right, what do you do? I was supposed to do 4 countries or 6 countries here. Now I have changed it, and I'm making like about 16, 15 countries out here in Africa, so that I can get you something what's happening in East Africa, what's happening in the Southern African region, in the Western and the North Africa region. Because this is what Mr. Gaddafi was practically planning for Africa, and that was one single currency. And just about to I see what Bitcoin can really do here, like why there is so much disparity, and I would just like, oh my god, there's this, and just to find the little people, pockets, communities, getting connected to them, and to see why Bitcoin adoption is still 15 years away from here. We're at least 15, 20 years away from here. So Africa has just fallen in a place in a perfect time, and then you just come to know out like everything is come on forward. Like there's the Bitcoin fund, the Bitcoin trust, there is everything happening, and it is just like the language here changes every country. So there are like almost like 1,000 languages, and always I just see myself. I'm like right now I'm in a place. It's called Enkatabe. I'm able to use this. This is good internet. But everybody doesn't have a smartphone. They still have mobile money. And then they have their own regional language. How will the Bitcoin education trickle down to such people? Is always I keep questioning as I move different throughout the Africa. And I've come to find out answer. There's something called Bitcoin Ekasi. They're teaching, making Bitcoin language in different languages. There is Bitcoin Matani in from Kenya, who is teaching it in 5 different languages. I met somebody called Dr. Sandra in Tanzania. She has written Bitcoin in Kiswahili. So it is just too nice to just to take the local faces and the local stories out so that people can just be like, oh wait, this is happening. Like you're not alone. It gives a very strong message when I can just say like I did Kenya, Tanzania, oh Kilimanjaro, I paid with Bitcoin. Wow. They're like, oh, you can use it. It's just not the Visa card. It's a very funny thing. I was talking to the Kilimanjaro chap, the tour guide. He says when a person pays $1,000, he loses almost $52 as their Visa Mastercard fees. It's almost 4.5, 5%. And then when you tip, that is practically a tip for one of your porters who will take you up to the mountain. You get it? How much money just goes like it's crazy. And now people people just see Bitcoin as money though. Let's be honest, people have been scammed a lot here, a lot, brother. Like no, that's why people are scared of Bitcoin. They call Bitcoin is a bitch. Bitcoin is a scam. Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme. Bitcoin is a pyramid. Bitcoin is to get rich quickly. This is how people see it. That's it. And so just happy to share the learnings of Bitcoin standard with them. Yeah, I feel honored. Like I feel like I am doing my part. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing stuff. So, I think it's pretty interesting what you said there is that everybody kind of sees that almost like Bitcoin is like a scam or a Ponzi scheme. And I think like,
Yeah.
maybe Americans or, some other people, maybe traditional investors or things like that too kind of view
Mm,
Bitcoin the same.
mm.
So how do you, I guess, battle that question, kind of get them to trust you enough to like believe in this quote unquote funny internet money that they got going on?
So one thing very awesome I really love is the Lightning Bitcoin. All right. So this is so pretty awesome. Like you meet the person, you set him up a wallet of Satoshi, and the wallet of Satoshi is set up in like what less than it's 7 MB. Okay, it's ready, and I've just sent him $1 of Bitcoin, and the person is just looking at my face. I'm looking at that person. They're like, oh, I just got some Bitcoin. So I believe if you give a person a car, the person drives it. If you give the person a book, the person will read it. If you give that person some Bitcoin, the person will research about it. So anyways, I give them a Bitcoin, and then I really shoot this out really out there. I'm like, you American gold coin, let's go 100 years back. American gold coin, a Dutch gold coin, a Malawian gold coin, or an Indian gold coin all had different stamps. But your gold was gold and my gold was gold. And now why is your $1 is to 10,000 and why is my 1 rupee is to 500? Why this difference came? And they really question. They're like, yeah, what happened? And then you just take them forward to the gold standard, and then you take it from the gold standard, from the history of money to the double spending of money, and to teach them like the Raspberry Pi. And then they're like, yeah, you can't cheat this. Who will cheat you? And then they're just like, they're suddenly like today I was just sharing it with the 5 local Malawian boys down here, and they were just like, holy shit, dude, I felt today like they were the fastest graspers in my history of teaching or sharing knowledge. And they're just like, what is sound money? Like, what is sound money? And then finally, like, yeah, because everybody is down there trying to trade. Everybody's been scammed here. Most of the people I've met, dude, a guy in Uganda sold his cow for $400 in 2014 to buy Bitcoin, and he got scammed. Like it happens. This is reality. This is the truth, and the problem is the trickle of the knowledge. By the time the English knowledge is trickled down, it gets converted and must flavorized and everything, and then it always, because brother, in Africa it's really tough, you need money. You do need. It is true.
Yeah,
So yeah.
exactly. So, do you think that, I think it's pretty interesting that you said that they picked it up very quickly. Do you think, maybe because of like the education and the willingness you have to teach them, they're kind of picking up that way, or do you think that, maybe, some traditional education has kind of like muddied up the water, so to speak. So it makes it more of a difficult concept to grasp because, in the traditional education system, you learn the fiat system. And so you think that that's the only way. Are you kind of seeing that it's easier to teach, maybe some of these like younger kids just because it's, they don't have necessarily that preconceived notion in their head?
I have come to understanding like people in their 40s and below and 50s and below are really open to learning. I'm be clear. I'm just gonna be out there and say it. They're really open to learning. I tried to explain this to my dad too, and my dad is 65, and all he told me was like, "Hey, I have lived my life. It's your life. You figure that shit is good. Go for it. I don't have enough. I don't need to bother." And it made sense. Yesterday I was talking to this Dutch guy, and he's like, "I have a house. I have a car. I don't fucking give a fuck about anything else." And I was like, "Uh huh. There you go. There you go." So I've just come to see the understanding is like it is very easy given to the mobile phone technology that we have, that these young kids are really prone to learning. Like all these five kids were all computer boys. So I'm in a community here. There are computers and they're learning about it. So that was pretty cool to see that they were really open to, like, they understood the concept. Because I think so inflation and expenses teaches every boy to be a man, I feel. Like when you have to pay your bills, you get up on your feet and you're like, fuck, I have to pay bills. And you're just like, why am I still working so hard? And the bills are still increasing every time. So it hits them really well. So it is really nice to just see like the young people are really open to it. Bang on.
That's awesome.
But
Yeah, I think too, like, at least from my exposure of people is that they're seeing a lot of, like you said, inflation, and it's kind of, making people grow up a little faster because they're realizing, okay, at least in the United States, there's like kind of a trend of having more than one income, whether that's like having a quote unquote side job or something along those lines. And the generation always before us kind of taught us to work hard, one job, stay at a company, and then save your money, and that was going to cut it. But I think my generation quickly realized that that's not going to
no,
work here anymore. So I think they're kind of coming around to the fact about Bitcoin, about the power of it, and the sound and hard money principles. And I think you nailed it right there. I think that's part of the reason why a lot of older people, they're done with their career. They've got their house. They've got all these other things. They don't really necessarily need to worry about making more and more money. Whereas
yeah,
our generation, that's what we got to worry about, right? We got to
mhm,
keep making that income come in.
yeah,
Uh, so you're educating a lot of people, and it seems like you're
yeah.
you're running around the globe. How are you combating the language barriers, and are you running into any difficulty with that?
Oh my God, brother. Honestly, I wish I was like a Jesus or a Moses who spoke all the languages of the world. Holy fuck, I swear to God, I hate it. Like it's only I'm English. I'm telling you. So it is just the people I can get. Like, so even if like today there were five, at least got those five people educated about it, right? So I'm still combating that. Like anybody who speaks English. Like in Uganda, I hosted like two meetups. I got like 60 people, 40 crypto trade, like 40 crypto and 20 came in the university. So we had this random 60 English, only English, brother. There is nothing else. That's why I keep shouting these people who are on Twitter shouting hodl, hodl, hodl. On Twitter, they're like, oh, we go to the move, we're gonna do this. I'm like, wait a minute, guys. You need to come onto the ground and to just see there is no knowledge. Brother, honestly, if you can touch something, that is money. That's all it is. We cannot take, we are still have touch is a feeling, right? One of your senses. You touch that $100 note, you feel that is $100 note, right? And you just tell them, I give you some Bitcoin. And then they're like, what the fuck? You're gonna scam me. That's it, right? It is crazy, man. But I'm just getting by. So this is what I feel, an African story. What is happening is I am finding all these hidden Bitcoiners. And what happens is there will be a Bitcoin only conference in Africa by Africa. That would be a very strong message. And okay, I'm just gonna break it out to you. Central African Republic is not gonna take Bitcoin as legal. It is gonna have its own coin. Let me just put it out there.
Oh, all right. So do you?
Oh,
Uh-oh.
yeah.
So
Yeah. I
we've
just had
seen,
to tell you.
yeah, yeah, we've seen El Salvador kind of, do just Bitcoin and Bitcoin only, and then we've seen
Uh,
kind of some cities in United States. Miami specifically came out with the Miami coin, and I don't know if
yeah,
you've followed that or have heard that story.
tax, right?
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
earned a lot of money for the city initially, and then recently with all these kind of shit coins just falling apart, it got rug pulled as well. Um,
Whoa.
yeah, so some big news there. So I guess how do you or what is the Central African Republic's kind of plan for their own coin, or are you able to disclose anything from that?
I can just say like they have those neighboring countries. They will jump on the same coin board, so they will launch their own coin. See, let's just be honest. Nobody wants to lose power. We are humans. We are men. Like we want power. Right from Game of Thrones, you see it. Like we just fucking fight for power, right? So they're gonna have their own coin. But there's something really positive. Like it's a big finger to the French government. Like screw you. We know how to make our own coin. I do not know what chain they will be on. I just know like they're having their own coin coming through, and you'll see it in like this week, inshallah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, but
that's a little disappointing, but I mean, I do kind of see your point there. A lot of the governments they don't want to lose power, and that's why at least there's been a trend that it seems like a lot of governments and things like that are talking about this CBDCs opposed
that's
to
it.
yeah accepting Bitcoin. So I guess even though it's like kind of a big middle finger to the French government,
Yeah.
you kind of think that the implementing it as a CBDC or something along those lines would be almost like a negative for the African people.
Uh-huh. Um, I would say like the African people say, I'll tell you here, they have mobile money. So when you come down here in Africa and say bank the unbanked, there is no fucking bank to be unbanked here. All right, they have mobile money. So there are already private entities who control it. So it is just like the shift of power that's going to happen right now. This is what I feel right now. But I mean, the French are going to fight the IMF. You see, the Indian people are friends with IMF. The people love International Monetary Fund that just favors the dollar.
Yeah,
So there's been a lot of resistance. I can just share with you one more thing is there's been a lot of resistance from internally, but the president's office had passed it really positively out because they knew finally they are free of it. And they're really open to having Bitcoin exchanges. They're really open to having Bitcoin ATMs. They're really pro favored towards Bitcoin, and they use the word Bitcoin as a synonym to crypto coins. Can you believe that? I asked my contact, and I'm like, hey, so Bitcoin, I'm so happy. And he's like, hey, we used Bitcoin because it's a very famous coin. We are open to everything. And I'm like, holy cow, are you kidding me right now?
yeah. So how are you kind of going along the lines and educating people around the world, when they bring up that point, when they try to say Bitcoin and crypto as synonymous, and maybe they see the volatility, or I don't know if maybe the news is there yet, or if people are paying attention around the globe of like stuff like what just happened with Luna, where it was I think like around $120, and now it's not even a cent or anything like that.
Yeah.
Seeing that these big shit coins are getting rug pulled, how are you kind of I guess shifting the conversation to Bitcoin and Bitcoin only?
So what is happening here is I just always take to him to a very simple thing. So my dear friend, there are a lot of churches around, right? Everybody can open a church here. It's so easy to open a church here than a Bitcoin wallet in Africa, I'll tell you. Okay. But since so there are a lot of churches, so I always shoot out the message to them. I'm like, do you know who Jesus is? They're like, no. I'm like, do you know who Satoshi Nakamoto is? Like, they're like, no. I'm like, do you know anybody who owns Bitcoin? He's like, no. I'm like, why? He's like, because of the Raspberry Pi. They just get connected. So it is really just nice to just show them like you practically are free. You finally have that freedom. Finally, when you work that 8 hours of labor, you will get paid something that is the same value in US. That's the same value in London. And then suddenly you just feel liberated. You suddenly feel that joy, right? So you just to sell them these things and they just like feel like wow. And then to just show lightning Bitcoin transactions. Wow. They are just like, oh, it just happened. Like lightning Bitcoin is something which has really helped in adoption on a huge level. So really grateful.
That's awesome. So, all right. So you're in Africa now. Were you in Europe or Asia before, or were you
So
able to kind of go through there because of COVID?
so basically what I've done is I've so far done India, UAE, Thailand, Cambodia, Singapore, Sri Lanka. You see what happened to Sri Lanka? Like crazy. Like Sri Lanka moved over to Qatar and now to Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, now Malawi. I will be moving from here over into Southern America, Central America, do something there, and then ended off in Eastern Europe. By the way, the pace I'm going at it, I am feeling like it's going to be extended by another couple of 100 days by the time I'm done with all the 40. But it is really crazy. I feel Europe has a huge market. I've got a lot of people from Europe telling me, come to Europe, come to Europe. And so I'm just waiting for countries to open up. Since I'm an Indian, I have to apply visas and all that bloody procedure is really chaotic. Like you wouldn't believe I have to apply for every single African country visa to move forward. It's not like I just show up and then they let like, hey Paco, come in. Uh-uh. You apply, you get in through. So I'm just doing all the paperwork slowly and gradually. And yeah, I will move over into South America and to the Eastern Europe then. Yeah.
Awesome. So, have you noticed, I guess, a difference in, Bitcoin education as you're kind of going along, or a willingness to it, or or is it kind of just like a similar experience?
I will just tell you an average African uh, community leaders that I have met, they earn on an average $100 a month. All right. Now, what happens with that $100 a month? They have bills to pay and they love crypto. They know what Bitcoin is, they understand it. But then there are projects who approach them, NFT projects, altcoiners, and all of them. They approach them and then they offer them $500, $1,000. The person says, ends up saying yes because he wants that $1,000. He has a family to feed and then they start shilling projects. So I do not blame them because they have a family to feed, but like they're really pro in shilling projects. You name it, which project you want to be shilled, they will set you up a big party, big fancy thing. They will shill the coin, they will make it go big, and then rug pull it. It happens. It happens. I met so many of them here. On my face, they will say, "Yeah, I know it's gonna crash, but I'm making money. It's TIA. This is Africa. This is Africa, my man."
Yeah, that's some wild stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely seems like a lot of these countries, like when you're talking to maybe the average person too, that they can really use Bitcoin. So when you, I guess, go through and kind of like give them a lesson and sitting and talking with them, uh, do they like, all right, or do they kind of realize like, okay, I need to take the power of my own money into my own hands, kind of take it away from the government, or do they kind of not have that view, that maybe a lot of Bitcoiners have right now, where it's like, okay, the Fed and other people are kind of inflating our money and things like that. Do they kind of view it that way, or do they just kind of see, I guess, the use cases and things like that?
They are just like, can I convert it to mobile money? I'll tell you, I paid for my Kilimanjaro trek, and he was like, convert it and show me. And I corrected him to my OTC guy, and they converted it. He got cash in his mobile money. He's like, okay, this works. Like I'm right now at a place. It's an NGO. It's a hostel. They have nursery schools, handicapped schools. They're like, can I convert it to money? And I'm like, yes, you can convert it to money. And then they're like, can people send me money? And they're like, yes. So they love the use case of it. They are just like, because they have bills to pay, man. This is like when you have bills to pay, you just want cash. You wouldn't think even of saving a one sat. I tell you, the Kilimanjaro guy didn't even save a single sat. He was just like, I want cash. I know you taught me Bitcoin. I know you told me the currency is shit. I don't know. And they get it all. They're like, brother, money in my hand is money in my hand. But I'm really happy that they're really open. They're like, I'm going to put it on my website that I accept Bitcoin. I'm going to open an account. And I also tell them to open an account on exchange so that they can exchange it through an exchange. So I give them that option, but I always tell I open them a non-custodial wallet, so that would either be a blue wallet or a moon wallet or a wallet of Satoshi, so that they hold their own keys. That's what I leave them with. And thanks to now recently I was recently doing was getbitcoin.org. It's a human rights foundation, some initiative. They're giving 2,100 sats, so I'm just sharing that with people as of now.
Okay, awesome stuff. Yeah, so you mentioned it a little bit previously, but you said that you had a little difficulty in Sri Lanka. Are you able to kind of go through, I guess, some of the harder times or some of the difficulties that you faced along your trip?
Man, like Sri Lanka was really suffering, man. Like they don't have petrol. All right, I break it down to you very simple. All right, if you take a US dollar to the bank was giving you 150, 200. But if you took it to the black market, they give you 250, a US dollar physical. If you took a USDT, they give you 260, 270. All right, now because of this, what's happening is because the country doesn't have dollars. So when they don't have dollars, you can't import. So you can't import. So used cars went all up, right? Since you can't import petrol. So there were like 6, 6, 8 hours of petrol problem. Since you don't have dollars, you don't have petrol, you have electricity shortage. So there were 6, 6, 8 hours of electricity shortages, and this all craziness was just happening, and you could just see the currency plummet. Finally, they let the peg go from 200, and now it is somewhere floating at 400. Their minister was thrown away. They have something out there, like everything, like you're just down there and the price just goes up. Like suddenly yesterday you were like saying 3,000 is the price, today is like says 3,300. And this is what is happening and killing. That's what killed Venezuela, right? This is what I'm going to Zimbabwe next, and they say they have 700% inflation, man. And you know what, something happening is I'll just share it with you guys here. Like China owns everything, you don't even know it. The Silk Route you talk about, the olden Silk Route going through Kazakhstan, Afghanistan, India. The new Silk Road is the airports and the seaports and the roads. Cambodian seaport is owned by China for 99 years. Kenyan roads are owned. The Tanzanian port is owned. Uganda airport is owned. They're buying airports, seaports. Practically, they are owning everything. And then they devalue your currency. And then you can't pay anything. And you are practically indebted for next 99 years.
Yeah, it's incredible, and I don't know if you saw this today, but there was actually a report that went out that although China banned Bitcoin mining, they still host 21% of the actual hash rate of Bitcoin. So
Wow.
yeah, so they still own like a good portion of it. Obviously, a
Yeah,
lot of maybe institutional type Bitcoin miners left, and they got caught or whatever. But it seems like a lot of hash rate is still there, whether people are kind of like hiding it out or doing whatever. But it seems like
true.
the Chinese people too kind of get Bitcoin. So I'd be curious to see what they are kind of about with when it comes to Bitcoin. I think that they're starting to develop maybe like a CBDC or something along those lines too in
I-
China.
It's on. It's on. Yeah, yeah, they have that. They have it. The digital yuan. So I'm going to tell you two funny things. I can't tell names. I met a
Okay.
Bitcoin miner. He's a Japanese guy and he runs a warehouse in China. All right. The second thing is a warehouse. Rude. He showed me his photos and videos, and I'm like, whoa, these are the guys who were with CZ and Roger were and back in those days. And I met those guys in Bangkok. The second thing is Bitcoin. China was really smart. They let people mine until 19 million Bitcoins were mined. And when there were just merely 2 million left, they were like, you get out of here. They just said it on the face, but everything was all open. Like after I met that miner, and he says I'm a miner, and you meet him at a Bitcoin meetup, and you just know him. You know, if you meet a 2011, 2012 Bitcoiner, you would just see a different aura around that person. So I was just like, wow, this is crazy, man. How do you do this? But it's true. He's like, yeah, everything works, man. This is China. Huh?
That's wild. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, and it seems like there's probably quite a few people exactly like that,
yeah,
which is awesome. And yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell when you've met somebody who's been very seasoned in Bitcoin.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. So how are you? I guess kind of organizing these meetups when you go to town to town or to country, are you? I know you have like a decent sized following in your Twitter account, but is there any forms of medium that you're using to kind of get the word out, or maybe just like word of mouth, boots on the ground kind of thing?
As of now, what's happening is when I started earlier, I was using Telegram, Twitter. I would go find up these groups. Like I came into Malawi and I was like, where is this group? Where is this group? Finding is really challenging. So Twitter. So what has happened is like every region has these little groups. Like in the Far East Asia, you will have those Asian people connecting you within different countries. In the Arab region, you'll have these people connecting you. In Africa, so since Kenyan people started connecting me to Uganda, Uganda connected me to Rwanda, Rwanda to Tanzania, Tanzania. So I'm just being able to join these little dots and connect them. And I use Twitter and word of mouth definitely. Like this is happening. Come learn. It's a free Bitcoin meetup. There's no drinks. People are like, oh, are you gonna give free drinks? Are you gonna give free this, free that? I'm like, hey, I have no those such fucking budget to do all of this. I give you knowledge. I tell you what Bitcoin is, and I will make you financially free. But you don't expect me to just be like, I take care of everything. So it's just like nice to share. So as of now, it's just been happening by like persistence, like just reach out to random people because I keep connecting between different countries and I make it, man. Like I didn't. I just tell you, it's like at the end luck after doing a lot of hard work and just like finding. Like this is the 12th country, and so far hosted like over 48 meetups, I guess.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome. And it's really the
yeah.
work that you're showing. That's for sure. I mean,
No,
and
I like
go ahead.
go. No, I was like just thank you to all the Bitcoiners. Like they supported me, and that's why I'm able to be doing able to do all this. So thank you all.
Yeah, of course, and hopefully, we can help spread the word a little bit more as well, and we can help you get connected to, more people around the globe. So, I guess, yeah, that's the other thing that I'm kind of like, tying back to the Bitcoin community. It seems like everybody's kind of helping you out, connecting you with other people, maybe helping you find places to stay, that sort of thing as well. So when you go to these Bitcoin meetups, how are you kind of structuring it? Are you doing it more so where you're, I guess, kind of almost like a classroom, like a lecture kind of setting, or is it more like informal, like at a bar or restaurant or stuff, and everybody's just kind of meeting and talking?
Yeah, it's more into the cafes or into co-working spaces. Sometimes cafes or co-working spaces where I take it over. And the first 15 minutes is more about telling what is Bitcoin mining, blah blah blah. The next 15 minutes is all talking about what is why we need it, what's the philosophy, what is the Bitcoin standard, what is time preference, what is the history of money. And then the last about next half an hour, 15 minutes, sorry. It's like in an hour I'm done. And the last 15 minutes is pretty much me showing them a presentation of 12 countries of that I've got a Bitcoin, I've got a haircut for Bitcoin, I got a burger for Bitcoin, I got a summer puff for Bitcoin, I got my massage for Bitcoin. And then they're like, oh, wait, in 12 different countries, you got all this thing for on paying for business with Bitcoin. It just sends a very positive message. And then they're like, okay, this is practically money. They'll see it as money, just to end it off by just showing like, hey, different countries, I'm just living like a normal human. When you just show them like you can live like a common person, they just start seeing it that way. At the end, I just say like everything is money, whatever you believe in it. So that's how it goes about.
Awesome. So, yeah. So, I guess what is the end goal for all of this? What do you want? What do you want to accomplish? And do you want to, like, I guess afterwards take a little break and then continue to do this, or is this
Uh,
just kind of like a one-time thing?
so I would definitely would like to have a first. The first of my goals would be to that there's a Bitcoin conference in Africa by Africans where the local fucking Africans are out there and it's not like $2,000 tickets for the local people. Because this is what I felt in Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda when an average person is making $100, he can't afford a bloody Bitcoin conference ticket to come down, even though if he is a Bitcoiner. So have that one of those conferences. And then I would really would like to, since that I would have done by then 40 countries, I would really get connected with all the people who are helping in hyper Bitcoinization. Be it from your POS machines that I came across. There's something called as Ibex Mercado. They're doing something. Ibex from Guatemala. Or just see what Strike is doing, or just see how the wallets are performing. Like just get them on ground adoption. Like since I would have like on ground reality with on ground community heads, it would be easy for adoption to come because I know them personally rather than just knowing them on digitally. Like I've spent time with them. So just see that how can we take it adoption and education on a grassroots levels. That'd be good.
That's awesome. So, do
Thank
you
you.
want to, I guess, as you continue along this journey, do you want to, I guess, afterwards just kind of keep going? Do you want to be like almost like a digital nomad and kind of travel around and educate with Bitcoin and kind of do boots on the ground? Or do you think that this is just kind of like, hey, the time is lining up perfectly for me and this is a good situation for now, but I want to settle down and,
No, no, I think so. I think so. The way it's going, and now with every country, I'm just getting a different vibe, and I'm like, I will go ahead with this. I just really because I think so. It's good to delegate and deploy on ground that little seedling, that little sapling. Like the best blind time to buy Bitcoin was 13 years ago, and the second best time is now. I would just want that thing to go forward so that people can just see, start seeing, man. Like because see, you have 24 hours, I have 24 hours a day, right? Where do you deploy your energy? Like in trading and shitcoining, yeah, good. But every time you'll just feel drained out, right? And when you just deploy all your energy and resources towards Bitcoin, you start seeing like, oh wait, I am going towards something called as honesty. Simple goal. So yeah, go ahead with this. Yeah, definitely for now.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, how can people and like the listeners kind of help you along this journey? Is there anything that they can do to help show some support in any way?
I would really first of all thank everybody who has supported so far. Like it's not I started with zero and been so far able to do 12 countries. So really thank you. I have a website called support.runwithbitcoin.com where I have shared all the details. If you would like to support, yeah. If not, please do give me blessings. It helps a lot. I have a YouTube page. It's called Paco de la India. It's so you can watch videos if you like to see how you can buy beer for Bitcoin, burgers for Bitcoin, tuk tuk. Go to tuk tuk for Bitcoin in Cambodia. I got a dentist for Bitcoin, so you can just check out those videos if you're really curious to just really see the use case of Bitcoin rather than seeing the trading ideas because I don't have the knowledge. I'm not a trader, so I don't comment on it also. Uh, so you can definitely check that out. And I write daily blogs on Substack with the same Paco de la India. Yeah, and yeah, give me your blessings. That will be very very helpful.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. And yeah, everybody go check out support.runwithbitcoin.com and you can see everything that he's doing there. You can contribute to his efforts. And yeah, I think I'm looking at it right now. There's 107 contributors so far. And you have
Yeah,
a goal of one full Bitcoin.
yeah,
So that's awesome stuff. So hopefully, if you're in the audience or you're listening to this later, go donate a couple sats because every sat counts.
yeah,
And Paco, thank you so much for your time and everything that you're doing for the Bitcoin space. I think this is
yeah.
amazing.
Uh,
When Gandalf kind of mentioned your story and everything like that to me and some others, I had to jump at it,
yeah,
to get you on as quick as possible because I think, a lot of I guess Americans or maybe people in my audience just kind of see it as Bitcoin almost as like savings technology, or they're really stingy with their Bitcoin, and they're not kind of willing to spend it or transact. Which you're kind of showing the use case that you can buy almost or do almost anything. So to wrap it up, what is the coolest thing that you've bought using Bitcoin? And what is, I guess, do you have like a cool item that you're just your goal to save up to buy with Bitcoin?
one of the coolest things that I got with Bitcoin would be recently. It was really funny. It was a car wash. Like a random guy. This guy had just washed his car, and I went with my friend, and I was like, "Hey, do you accept Bitcoin?" He's like, "If you teach me, I will." And wallet of Satoshi and a lightning Bitcoin, and he suddenly had like $3, $5. It was three or five, I don't remember. $5 of Bitcoin he had, and he looked at me and he's like, "I have it." I'm like, "Yes, you have it." And they're like, "Wow, it just happened." And then with that Bitcoin, I went over to Bitrefill and I did a recharge using a phone coupon, and they just got some recharge on their phone, and then they were like, "Oh shit, this is possible." So this was one of the coolest things that I recently remember. I've got these bracelets. You see these little ones that I wear for every country. Ended up buying them on Bitcoin because people are really curious. So share a few sats with them, and they'll be happy about it. What's the second question? I lost you on the second one.
Is like, do you have like a kind of a goal to purchase something, some big purchase, maybe I don't know, like a house or a new car or something like that? Is there something cool that you want to buy using Bitcoin down the road?
Bro, right now, honestly, I'm telling you, my GoPro just got water inside like 2 days yesterday. So, like, I think that that's my next thing. I'm gonna go get a GoPro. Dude, somebody stole my phone in Kenya. I went and bought my phone on Bitcoin. Like, there's a store that accepts Bitcoin. Can you fucking believe that? Like, this is hilarious. I'll tell you something. The people who accept Bitcoin are the ones who are cashing it out right away. Let me just make it out to you, all right? Not everybody's a hodler, all right? Not everybody's on Twitter. Nobody said nobody. They are just down there. They're like, I want money in my bank. I want money in my hand. And so these guys, I sent it to him. The person right away did a Binance outward, and they were sold out. And I'm like, the person would have saved like $5 of profit for themselves, but uh-uh, nobody sees it. And man, it's really funny, man. I've given Bitcoin to people at 60,000, 50, 40, now 30. I am also scared, man. Like I am also scared. Like these guys who I gave at 60 and I told them hodl. They are like, it's 30, what hodl?
So
Yeah.
yeah. So with the volatility and things like that too, are you kind of running into that issue where people are maybe
Yeah, man. It's crazy, brother. You wouldn't fucking believe this. I'm so sorry. Dude, I went to Kilimanjaro hike. I did a transaction at 39,000. Good. I went for my hike. 6 days later, I come back. It's 30,000. Dude, it is. My money has just wiped out. Like the contribution, I got some contribution like 40,000. Suddenly, I'm at like 30,000 and I'm like, I've lost 10,000. And then you just see come back after the hike and you're like, it's 25. And you're like, dude, I really feel the pinch. So many people have started advising me to hold USDT, but I'm like, okay, I hold a couple of hundred USDT just as like because backup, but I still hold Bitcoin because I'm just like, this is the purpose, you know. Then you might as well hold Bitcoin Cash, might as well hold Ethereum. What about the ape coin? Why not the ape coin, right? Like, wow, my monkey has more value.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, yeah, what you're doing, I mean, it's tough and it's difficult because
Yeah,
the fiat underneath it is extremely volatile too. So, um, when we're kind of running into this time, I think it's really interesting because,
yes,
we'll be able to tell where we're at in the cycle. Whether people look back and say, we're in a bull or a bear market or anything, and if it comes out at the end that this time period that we're in right now is a bear market, and
hmm,
you're doing all this traveling during a big drawdown, I think the use case, although it might stink where it sees a big drawdown in your money and your funds,
uh,
at the end of the day, it might be, a good for the story in the end where
yeah,
you say, no matter where you are in the quote unquote cycle, or if you believe in the super cycles or whatever
yeah,
you may subscribe to in Bitcoin, no matter what time you're in, it's always a good time to use Bitcoin and to transact, and you can use it and travel around the world. So I
yeah,
think, even with the volatility swings, although it might suck and maybe give you some hard times, I think
yeah.
it'll be a good thing in the end.
Yeah, man, I am hoping that, and I'm really grateful. Like proof of work has made me just get up and be like, hey, what are you contributing to the mankind? What are you doing as a human? You just sit there and complain. Don't ask what your country can do for you, right? Ask what you can do for your country. It's practically the same thing. Like you don't ask my Bitcoin is going to be $1 million. What are you doing for Bitcoin? And it's just like that, right? What are you doing? Like you're sitting there and shouting hodl. You're sitting down there and just saying hodl. I'm like, how about you just go down in a new orange pill your favorite coffee shop? See, persistence is everything, right? You keep going and saying, like, yeah, buy Bitcoin. Like, dude, do it. Like, so if there people start seeing it because people have started seeing it. So, in another, as you see, countries are falling down in next 6 months, you will start seeing. And Nayib Bukele just did it recently, right? He invited over 44 banks. There is Central Bank of Malawi there. I'm so happy. Yeah, I am just so happy. Like, it there. And I was just counting. There were 25 African countries. Can you imagine? 25 African countries are out there. That is a big thing for us. Like I really feel like that's why when they say we are early, I really feel you come to Africa, you'll feel it, brother. You come to Africa, you'll feel it. We are very early.
That's awesome, man. Well, hopefully, this can help get the word out as well.
Yes,
And,
yes,
you can, maybe get that Bitcoin only in Africa conference going, or
Yeah,
stuff like that. So if anybody's in Africa listening or has some connections in there, be sure to reach out to Paco and help him
thank you.
complete his goal and everything like that. So Paco, you already named your YouTube and the support with Bitcoin. Where else can people find what you got going on?
I've got another links that is left over is Instagram, and on Twitter it's called Run with Bitcoin. So if you're on Twitter, it's Run with Bitcoin. And yeah, and Instagram I got, my blogs I got, and I got my YouTube blogs. They are like really cool. I do a lot of editing, guys. Go out, check them out, man. Go check them out. Hit that like bell, subscribe. What all is there? All of that. All of that.
Like, share, and subscribe. Right there, you go.
Yeah, man. Yeah, let's do that.
All right, awesome stuff. Well, Paco, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Peace, brother.